What's going on, everybody? It's another week here at the Focus TV. Oh, there's so much to talk about. If y'all been following us on social media, I mean, it's a crazy amount of stuff that's happened. We're in one of the busiest times of the year as far as sports go. So this is gonna be it's gonna be interesting. We started off the show with some highlights from the Maryland states. So Cardell, tell us how everything went over there.
A lot of blowouts. A lot of.
I hate when that happens.
Boys and girls sides. A lot of blowouts. But it was also a lot of memorable, historic, performances. A lot of people, a lot of kids. A lot of people should keep an eye on moving forward. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start on the fella side of things. In the 1A championship, Lake Clifton defeated Southern Garrett 64-46. It's Lake Clifton's sixth title, their second in a row. They have a legendary coach, Herman Tree Haree, who's one of the best, not just in the area, but the country. His son, actually, Armin Haree, finished the game with a game-high 35 points and 13 rebounds. And his backcourt mate, Michael Gray, finished with 22 points, 6 3-pointers. That boy got NBA range already. It was sick watching him play. Just dribble, couple crossovers, pull up from 25 feet. Southern Garrett, Tyler Roadheaver posted 14 points and 5 rebounds, and Dalton Wiles, 11 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, and a loss. In the 3A championship, Baltimore Poly defeated Reservoir 69-41, their third title in a row for the 3A. They're dominating the Maryland 3A. They're the class, they're the standard right now. Baltimore Poly guard Brandon Murray finished with 17 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. He's a problem. 6'4" guard, sneaky athletic, a nice build, all-around game. Keep an eye on him. One of the best point guards in the region, not just the area, Raheem Ali, 16 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Great two-way point guard, knows how to control the game. That's why it's so hard to beat Poly. He just don't allow teams to get a flow on either end. And obviously, their most high-profile player, Justin Lewis, finished with 8 points, but 10 rebounds, 6 assists, and 5 blocks. So even though he didn't have it going offensively, scoring-wise, he put it together in every way possible, filling up the stat sheet. Reservoir was led by Josh Adunowo, hope I don't butcher your name, with 18 points, 14 rebounds, and 2 blocks. In a 2A championship, Patterson defeated Wicomico 79-56, their third title overall. Patterson was led by Marvin Price, sweet shooting lefty, 31 points, 10 rebounds. Tyrone Thomas, his backcourt mate, finished with 14 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds. Wicomico was led by Jason Handy, who finished with 14 points, 5 rebounds. And Keyshawn Marshall, who added 12 points. And then the last game for the 4A state championship, Eleanor Roosevelt defeated Broadneck 77-48 for their fourth title. Eleanor Roosevelt, Cameron Brown finished with 25 points, 14 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals. And Jameer Butler added 13 points, and Jahari Simon added 12 points. Broadneck was led by guard Jamar Young, 22 points and 8 rebounds. On the girls' side, Class 1A championship, Pikesville defeated Smithsburg 61-31. It's their first state championship ever. Pikesville guard Francis Glover and Bay, 18 points and 9 rebounds. And Keontae Lewis added 14.6 rebounds. Smithsburg was led by Leah Lindsay's 9 points. In the 2A, River Hill defeated Middletown 44-39. It's their second overall title. River Hill, Anaya Smith posted 14 points and 5 rebounds and 3 assists. Emily Masker added 10 points and 9 rebounds, and Sanaya Jackson added 10 points and 8 rebounds. Middletown was led by super sophomore Sailor Poffenbarger, 27 points, 14 rebounds, 2 blocks, 2 steals. She's a 6'3" guard forward center, does it all. She's a problem. And yeah, she's one of those you're going to be hearing about down the line. Another one of those, certain guy from UConn need to stay up there, but we ain't gonna get into that. Just stay where you at. Stay in this lane. It's a big country.
Do what you gotta do, man.
You too? My life can't just have a couple more good things.
What you mean? Y'all had enough.
I was about to say, man, come on.
Y'all been eating long enough now. Stop being greedy. DMX style. Let's go. We gonna continue this 3A state championship. Frederick defeated Baltimore Poly. Yeah, they nice on the girls' side too. Baltimore Poly, 58-44. It's their fourth title, third in a row. Frederick, Michaela Daniels, 26.7 rebounds, 6 steals. Jalen Montgomery had 11 points and 7 rebounds. Baltimore Poly was led by Deja Towns, 15 points, 5 blocks. And Janya Lilly, 12 points and 4 rebounds. And in the 4A, Charles Flowers defeated Old Mill 57-42, first state championship ever. Flowers Kanaya Harris posted 23 points and 9 rebounds, 5 steals, and Indira Zuru added 13 points and 8 rebounds. Old Mill was led by Sydney Falcon, 60.7 rebounds, and Michaela Mallet, 13.7 rebounds. There you go with the results, but there was also a lot of players that just separated themselves from the pack. And I'm going to start with Lake Clifton guard Armand Harid. To me, he's underrated, 6'4" guard, obviously well coached, playing for his father, who's one of the best. And, he's not one of the coaches that's just going to take it easy on his son. He was probably harder on his son than everybody else. I told you about his stats. He got a mid-range game. You got a three-point range. He can score from all 3 levels. Most importantly, he's versatile, he's tough, and he knows how to play basketball. He knows how to play winning basketball, which I think he will benefit a lot of college programs. I heard that maybe he's going prep to try to get more interest, but you see a lot of coaches who just drop the A-ball, which is getting players that they can develop that come in ready to eager to learn, to get better and help teams and know how to play. He fits that mold, and I think he could be a great piece as time goes on. Patterson guard Gerard Mungo, I know I didn't mention him, with the final stats, but I've always been a fan of his. Pitbull, got a lot of Patrick Beverly in him. He loves to play defense, but he can score, facilitate, do a lot of things offensively as well. I just think, he, at the next level, he's going to surprise a lot of people. Patterson, Marvin Price, he's always been highly coveted. One of the best pure scorers since he's been in high school. 31 points was easy, lefty. Can shoot, he score from all 3 levels, can shoot it, and it's rare to find a scorer and a shooter, you know what I mean? So, big body already, about 6'4", 6'5", 200, 205, 210 range. So once he get more fit, hit the weight room at the next level, it could be a serious problem. Baltimore probably for Justin Lewis, I mentioned him on the show countless times, explosive forward. One thing I was surprised to see, well, not surprised, I was happy to also see, I think he's starting to realize he's not going to keep growing. He ain't going to be a 6'11", explosive, big guy, so he got to develop some perimeter game. And even if he was, he still got to develop a perimeter game with the way the NBA is, and I know he's eyeing that, more fluid jumper. Right. It's getting there. It's getting better. He no hesitation. It looked good coming from 3-point range. Semifinals, he was hitting those shots. In the state championship, he didn't hit them, but he didn't pout or nothing. He went ahead and found other ways to impact his team winning, which is why he filled up the stat sheet. I always love his game. When he combined it all, he could be a problem on a wing, which is totally different to where he is playing, kind of like on a block and wing, but more on a block right now at the high school level. I told you about Raheem Ali, consummate point guard, man, just controls the game on both ends. He pressures 94 feet when he has to, can control the game. Very smart player. He don't give you the ball in positions where his teammates are not capable of succeeding. And that's rare for the high school level. They just normally just pass the ball, whoever's open, whatnot, but that guy might not be equipped to do anything, and you wonder why the offense is a waste of possession. He does not waste possessions. Meanwhile, he can shoot when called upon, and he can score, and he's tough as nails. I love that guy. And Brandon Murray, he really just jumped on the scene with me this run. He ended the game with a vicious windmill. I didn't even know he had that in him. I was like, whoa, shocked the whole Xfinity if you haven't seen him play before, which I haven't. But he's one of those guys that could just do everything. Scores in a myriad of ways on a block. He can facilitate. He's a capable defender. He rebounds. He just played his role, and that's why he stood out. And the game came easy to him. Joshua Dunowo is a very athletic kid. I feel like he's underrated, about 6'8". A little bit thin, but he's a high motor guy. Just always the type of motor hustle like a AC Green back in the day. Where he just finds a way to get rebounds and score and block shots and play defense, and that's why he's special with that style of play. He could fit any college program if they want him, if they're willing to develop him and work with him. Cam Brown was by far the best player during the state championship run. He's committed to William & Mary. He reminds me a lot of a former Roseville alum who's second team All Big East at Xavier, and that's Najee Marshall. He's about 6'4", but he's tough and versatile. Like, he's a guard, but he can get away with playing down low, even at the next level, because he's tough. He knows how to defend. He's strong. He's athletic. You know, he can get the rebound, he could push the rock, he could find guys. I mean, he had a dunk where he just put the guy in the poster. It was just bad. My man had to duck out the way. He dunked on him so bad, and even the dude he dunked on, their fans, Broadneck fans was cheering. It was bad, and he flexed on him. So yeah, he's vicious. He's mean with it, but you know, tough no guy. That's why I said that's exactly what Najee did at that same level. That's why, you know, he reminds me so much of him. And Isaiah Gross on the Eleanor Roosevelt team. They do not go to the state championship. Actually, the best game during the state championship was them when they took on Delaney. Delaney had them down, I think 6 for like a minute 30. And Isaiah Gross brought them back. He got fouled on the three-pointer, knocked down the free throw shots, and somehow kept getting the ball and getting fouled. He didn't miss a free throw down the stretch. And that's how they came back and won that game. They really were supposed to lose that game. But that's what happens. Sometimes you need a little bit of luck to go on your sign up to win these championships, and that's exactly what he did. He signed to Coppin State. I think he's going to do a lot of work there because he's fearless. And, you know, he's not as big or athletic as Brown, but he gets the job done. And with his fearlessness and the way he can shoot the ball and not being scared in the moment, and obviously being well coached and playing the big games at Roosevelt, I know he's going to succeed at Coppin State. And on the girls' side, got, you know, Sayla Poffenbarger. Right? She's special, a sophomore. 6'2", 6'3", can do it all. I mean, the sky's the limit. I had to, you know, touch on her. She's by far the best prospect I saw on the girls' side. Sophomore. So she's still growing. Obviously, her game is still developing. You know, I saw her getting out there, blocking shots, getting on point guards, doing everything. Those are the type of players where you see them and they become WNBA prospects at the next level. And that's all that is that's dominating the WNBA right now, 6'3", 6'4". You got girls that can play basically all 5 positions in one, and she's kind of in that mode already.
That's tough.
Yes, it is.
That's tough. Shout out to the winners, you know, states.
Mm-hmm.
Love hearing these people that I heard several times about people just embracing their role, which is a wonderful thing because, you know, winning gets overlooked quite often these days, and part of winning is embracing your role and doing what you need to do for everybody else to succeed. Sometimes you do a little too much and throw everything off kilter. So, you know, definitely appreciate hearing that. Right. But we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, Octavia is ready to go. You know, NFL season's over, but technically it just began again.
I was about to say, back at it again.
Yeah, it began. Depending on who you are, you had a good or bad free agency. Me, I can't wait because there better be names of players that my team signed on your list. Otherwise, we're going to have surprises.
I mean,
so, we're going to take a quick break. You're watching the Focus TV. I better hear like 4 of them.
Let me go ahead and add some more.
Yeah, exactly. You're watching the Focus TV. Hey, welcome back to the Focus TV. Too much fun. Shout out to the people tuning in on social. Because, y'all get to see a whole lot.
Don't mind us.
Hey, look, we get along,
right? It's Octavia's fault,
just
man.
mute us on breaks, guys, and come back afterwards.
Definitely have to. But you're back. You're watching the Focus TV. And Octavia, you know, free agency. I'm anxious to hear this list. I'm going to turn my mic off until I feel like I need to turn it back on.
Uh-oh.
Well,
So,
I mean,
hopefully,
you know,
we in a good place.
it's
So,
a lot. It's a lot that's going on. I'm sure I'm not going to hit everybody. that went everywhere, but you know,
boy.
I'm going to try to get to
But
some.
I better hear 2 whole names. Go ahead.
All right, let me go ahead and start. So the 49ers acquired D Ford and Quan Alexander.
Okay.
You know, but
appreciate
what
that.
another pickup I like for y'all, I like the Jordan Matthews pickup.
I don't.
I like it though.
I knew you would.
I like it. I
Okay.
think he'll be good out
Is he
there
gonna be
with y'all.
healthy?
Yeah, because he was healthy last year in Philly. He just didn't get no play.
Okay, because I wasn't sure. I thought maybe he was hurt or something. So.
He had too many people ahead of him. The only reason that we re-signed him last year was because we needed another deep ball threat.
I'm just
And
saying.
we
like,
didn't have a lot. But now that going on to another point, Deshaun Jackson going back
Oh, yeah.
to the Eagles,
Yeah.
How you feel
it
about
makes
that?
sense. I love it because in the beginning I never thought that he should have left in the beginning.
Right.
Along with Shady, you know, that was just the whole era that was all messed up. Chip.
Shout out to Chip.
So now your backup good. He good. He
No.
gonna produce.
He got, but because that's worse for the backup. Can he get the ball that far down the field?
How you know that? You just say you ain't never seen the play.
Hey, son might have that.
He might shock you.
hey, son might got Canaan.
Yeah.
Son out here like, hey, DJ, we counting to 3.
We are not talking about NFL. We are not.
Hey, look, my bad, mic off. Go ahead.
Oh my goodness.
apologize.
Some other big signings in the league. Of course, if you haven't heard by now, I don't know where you've been. Of course, Antonio Brown has signed with the Raiders. I remember when it happened, I saw like a picture that, you know, they put together when people sign and stuff like that. It was the quarterback, Derek Carr, and then it had Antonio next to him, and it had Jordy on the other side. But Jordy not there no
Him not there no more.
more. No, Jordy got cut.
What did you think about Antonio getting traded for like a whole nothing and half?
That's crazy. It just really makes you. It really makes you think like they just wanted to get rid of it. They just wanted to be over and done with it. And on one hand, I get it, but on the other hand, like you still should have got something in return. 'Cause that's the same thing I thought about when they let Deshaun go back with Chip, because they just cut him. We didn't get anything for that at all.
I got another question since we talk about one receiver getting traded. Who did worse, like Oakland getting Antonio or the Giants moving Odell? Like,
Oh, the Giants hand down. They did the worst.
You
Like,
said worse?
yeah.
Yeah, they definitely did the worst because
He's trying to convince people.
They did a lot.
And
You know,
and
they
you
picked
remember
up.
that day when I was like, I bet you they didn't get the first 3rd round pick
Yeah.
for the Browns. They did.
Yeah, the last. It's like it was horrible. It was just bad all the way around.
That's ego. That was all ego.
And to try to justify it, you know, of course they're going to try. They picked up Golden Tate from us, so now Golden Tate is apparently going to be their number 1. Or, you know, I don't know what Sterling's going to do, but that's what they got out there now. You know, they've already committed to keeping Eli.
Shout out to them.
I mean, and then if you're talking about other people that left the Giants this year, also, of course, Landon Collins has come to D.C. He'll be a Washington Redskin this year, which I think is a good pickup for them, especially because it's somebody that wants to be here. Like
Which is
somebody,
different.
Yeah. It's different when you're like, okay, I mean, like, I need some money. I got to find somewhere I got to play where, you know, it makes sense for me. But for somebody that's from the jump wanted to be there,
Yep.
you know that his dedication should be there the entire season. I don't know how detrimental his injury was, so I'll be interested to see how he comes back from that. But to me, it's still a good pickup. Talking about people going to the Redskins, people leaving the Redskins. Crowder went to the Jets, and the Jets also picked up the other formerly known as part of the Bees that was in the Steelers camp. Le'Veon Bell has decided to join the Jets as well. To me, it's just, I don't know, it's just crazy to me just because, you know, you think every year of the big teams where people want to go, you know, big markets or teams that have a winning track record or anything like that. And now you're seeing, you know, all these notable players going to, not to downplay any of the teams they went to, but teams that have been struggling in the past couple of years. So it's interesting to see how those teams are going to do now that they have talent. So it's like you can't continuously blame it on, well, we don't have a great core group of talent when you got these notable players coming in now. So I think the Crowder pickup was good for them too. Sticking in NFC East, the Cowboys haven't really done too much.
They signed Randall Cobb today.
Oh, okay. See, I missed that. They
Like
signed
that
Randall.
happened like late today.
So, I mean, that happened. They let Cole Beasley go. I know they re-signed Tavon Austin as well, which they had to do with letting go Cole, which is their slot receiver. So they need somebody to pick up the slack. And, you know, to me, Tavon's always been very up and down over the past couple of years. He had a great, you know, run in the beginning of his career, but out in LA, it didn't really pan out for him too well. So to see if he's going to be given more than what he's been given in the past and how he can live up to that should be interesting. The Ravens signed Earl Thomas.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They ain't playing.
And the notable thing about Earl Thomas, which I love, so one of the things he was talking about in his press conference was the Ravens kind of swooped in last minute, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
definitely.
One of the things, I think he thought he was coming to the Bay, but we don't pay people money, right? And for Earl coming off the broken leg and everything that happened in Seattle, he wants his money up front. So which I don't blame him in the least.
At all.
Like in the least.
Because that was his issue before the season even started.
And I don't blame him at all, but I just thought it was interesting that he did say that, like, Baltimore swooped in the last minute. And shout out to Baltimore. You literally lost Eric Weddle, who played a big veteran presence on your team.
Went to the Chargers.
And you got Earl Thomas.
Yeah.
Like, you haven't had his caliber safety since you know who. Like, and I'm not saying he's on Ed's level, I'm just saying.
But yeah.
Like that big splash
in that ballpark, yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
And, you know, they picked up Earl Thomas. They also picked up Ingram, who has been eaten down in Louisiana. Louisiana traded him out for Latavius Murray. So Latavius Murray left the Vikings, and he'll be in New Orleans this year. Teddy Bridgewater also decided to stay on as a backup, just because the quarterback market right now is, you know, it's kind of hard to find a starting position anywhere. Outside of course, I'm going to say a little tear real quick. My man Nick went to, I can't even say it.
Seriously?
Nick Foles went to, of course, the Jaguars, which I think is a good pickup for them, because like I said previously, you know, that was really the one position that they were really, really struggling with, to have a consistent player there. I always just say, for me, just because you haven't seen Nick start in a while. And when I say start, like from beginning to end, as you are the number one guy, not, you know, playing in the background as the number two, and you may have to step up. He's going to know every Sunday he's going in and he's the guy. So I'm interested to see how that transpires back, and for him to kind of get back in that mindset of stepping out of being the savior and being the person that's got to go out there and lead off the jump. Some other ones, Frank Gore, who always finds a job. He's been in the league for who knows how long, and he can still produce. He's out in Buffalo alongside of Shady now. So that's interesting as well, to see how that tandem works out for them, if Shady can stay healthy, because that's been his issue the last couple of years. Frank gonna be healthy. I don't know what it is. He got the fountain of youth somewhere that don't nobody know about. He always stay healthy.
One time in college and
been good ever since then.
That's some Florida boys. They built different.
That's my guy, Frankie G forever.
Yeah, man. If somebody else. Oh, and then speaking of Cole Beasley leaving the Cowboys, he did go to the Bills as well as John Brown from the Ravens. So they picked up some people for their wide receiver slots, because they were kind of lacking there as well. So a lot of things that happened. I'm trying to see what else. Tevin Coleman went to your team. I think that's a good pickup for them. He held the back. He held the bulk of the carries last year, with Devontae Freeman being injured in Atlanta, and you know, y'all desperately need somebody, because especially what happened with Jerick McKinnon in the beginning of the year, and being that was going to be our number one running back. Although I like
my man Matt Breida.
Yes, I like Matt Breida.
Everybody be acting like he.
I like Matt Breida, because I definitely had him on my fantasy team. He was definitely. So I expect him to put up more this year too, as well as because he has somebody that he's going to be able to play off of as well. Everybody's not going to always be able to game just for him. So I think that was a good pickup. Yep. And yes, I'm so sorry. Of course, I don't know why I did not.
She was carrying her. She was carrying it on the low.
Come on, man. Everybody knows that your man Joe Flacco is out in the Mile House City out in Denver. I think that's a great pickup. A veteran quarterback that's going to be able to lead a team, as opposed to putting, you know, your faith on somebody who had a great run, and then, you know, that was kind of it.
Yeah.
And then speaking of that person, Case Keenum is now going to be your starting quarterback at the Washington Redskins, where, I don't know, I have a question. Who would you rather see, Teddy Bridgewater or Case Keenum?
I mean, Teddy Bean, and that's why I shout out to Teddy. I would stay right there until Drew leaves.
Yeah, exactly.
That's your opinion. Why would you leave? All them weapons.
And I think that's what he thought, because of course he was going back and forth between if he was going to re-sign with the Saints or if he was going to sign with the Dolphins. And he visited, he did both. He's like,
I don't think it's hard to say.
Organizations matter, man.
They definitely do. They definitely do.
That toxic environment is not healthy.
Think about what you're walking into, right? So Drew's on his way out, like within the next 3-4 years. Michael Thomas is still going to be young. Ooh. They just gave Alvin Kamara. You're officially the lead dog out there.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to get you more toys if you don't just sit there and wait your turn.
And whose line is better, the Saints or the Skins?
Look, man, I would sit right there in New Orleans, and I'd wait my turn.
And I'm pretty sure he saw Alex Smith like get behind that line.
It's just not even
him, Colt, out there getting demolished.
Everybody took a few L's.
Yeah, but of course there's plenty more going on as time continues to go. Adam Humphries went to the Titans. Oh, of course, we were talking about the Ravens. Terrell Suggs went to Arizona, which blew my mind. I just didn't see it coming. I know a lot of people say he played college out there. He's used to being out there. That's but I just always thought he'd retire as a Raven. And I'm not saying it's not out of it's not out of the picture, because a lot of times he did only sign a 1-year deal with them. A lot of times they do that and then just do a 10-day contract and then retire back with the Ravens. So I can see that happening too. But it just kind of caught me off guard. I just thought he would be a forever Raven.
He should have.
He should have.
Some guys deserve that.
I mean, I think when it's all said and done, it'd be one of those things like he's gonna retire Raven, Frank Gore's gonna retire Niner, no matter.
They're gonna come back.
This is what it is.
You see what they're doing with Larry Fisher. You know what I'm saying? It's just because I think that is deeper than just what's right now. Other players around the league see all his loyalty, so that helps you get players, man. You know what I'm saying?
Especially in a time without none.
Let's be real. The Knicks traded Ewing away. They ain't been the same since. It's called
look.
When you don't value certain type of players,
sticks though, because you're gonna think about it if y'all move Pat.
The Bulls after Mike, if they ain't get Derrick Rose luck up, get the hometown kid.
Look how they treated that on the way out.
Exactly.
And one other one I always forgot. Of course, Honey Badger went to the Chiefs. 3 years, $42 million.
And Eric Berry's a free agent.
It's rough out there in the West, guys. I feel for you guys over there.
Just that quick.
Hopefully we can skate through. But
we got Mahomes for 20 years.
Yeah, man. And of course, the biggest signing of them all, OBJ to the Browns. I don't even really know what to say about that.
Shout out to Dave Gettleman, because I saw him about to do something crazy. That's my guy. Ruin a franchise as soon as he gets the keys.
It's been rough for the city of New York lately.
You know what? Like Dave Gettleman taking the keys to a franchise is like if you gave somebody with a blindfold a controller or a Madden. It's game of controller. Because none of his trades that he's ever done in Carolina
have made sense or worked out.
They don't work on the game, but he does them in real life. So shout out to Dave Gettleman.
And I forgot we re-signed my man Ronald Darby, and I was very excited about
that.
I was very excited about that. I was very nervous they were going to let him go. Very nervous.
Some people do good things.
Some people do bad things.
What about
Thank you.
Backup update?
Oh man,
we still ain't got one.
We ain't even messing with that.
Suffield.
We got a starting quarterback. We still auditioning.
We need to put in a Nate Suffield segment in this show. Moving forward.
We're about to take a quick. What
we gonna talk about?
We ain't got that time. We're gonna
one time Bowles got hurt for 2 plays. He went out there and played for 2 plays and went right on back on the bench. That's what we're gonna talk about. We ain't got nothing to talk about.
We're gonna take a quick break, but before we get to that break, the 9-4-50 breakdown, courtesy of Jamal Hayward. This week is breaking down how to curl and how to fade and or flare. Again, it's a breakdown of how to curl and how to fade and or flare. Brought to you by 9-4-50. We see you guys on the other side of the break. We got some Wizards, some DC United. Gonna run through these brackets to see how we feel. So y'all can love us or hate us. I already know y'all gonna hate me.
Please hate me, because I don't.
We'll be back shortly.
Okay, so I'm curling on the chair. All right, I'm curling on the chair. Morris is curling me. Morris is curling me. This is when I curl. But it's big. This I curl, and it's not tight. Morris is Go tight. Left right shot. Now, if Morris exceeds curl enough, on this side of the seat now, okay? I'm curling. You see that? You just moved it. Go. Okay? So, I'm curling on his here. All right? I'm curling on here. Morris is curling. Morris is curling. This is when I curl. But, it's big. This, I curl. And it's not tight. Morris is see through and feel the pass. Go. That's it. Now I'm curl tight. Curl tight. Left right shot. Now, if Morris exceeds curl enough, on this side of the seat now, okay? I'm curling. You see that? You just moved it. Go.
If they want to,
Welcome back to the Focus TV. Shout again to Jamal Hayward over at 9450. Truly appreciate you taking time each and every week to produce that segment. It's very informative. But these Washington Wizards, we told you guys for the last 2 weeks, this homestand was oh so important.
I think
So
we
look
thought
back
it
on
was
it.
more important.
All right, so the good news, they finished over 500 on the homestand.
Yeah.
They finished 3-2 after falling to Utah last night, 116-95. They beat Sacramento, Orlando, and Memphis, but they dropped a big game to Charlotte, although it was close, but Charlotte's one of those teams that was ahead of them. So they took, ideally, two of the games they definitely needed to win. Obviously, you needed to win all of them. The one that hurts out of the two losses the most, regardless of the point differential last night, was Charlotte. You couldn't afford to lose that one because that was one of the teams ahead of you in the standings. That being said, Washington plays Chicago tomorrow night on the road, then they return home this week for 2 more home games. They have the Nuggets coming in town, and then Miami. And I'm going to go ahead and jump out there and be like, if that Miami game, that's pretty much that could be the end all be all. Because that's an opportunity for Miami to just be like, all right, cool, we're done here. Because Miami's taking care of business. Because Charlotte left DC feeling good early, this past weekend. Got to Miami on Sunday. Miami was like, nah, we're an 8th. We got this. So Miami gets a chance to do the same thing to Wizards, which is let's put y'all out of misery real quick. As far as because these are all division games. Keep that in mind as well. But Cardell, you were there last night, so your thoughts on?
It was probably the toughest night covering the team this year because not only were they outplayed. I mean, you could say they were outcoached. It was just bad. They didn't win in any area. The only bright spot was Jabari Parker coming off the bench, doing what he did. But Utah from the beginning came out and they said Brad Beal is not going to keep going off like he's been doing, which earned him Eastern Conference Player of the Week. Yeah. Y'all, the guys, going to have to step up. And they fronted him, and they had a guy wherever he ran. Everybody was on high alert. Wherever he ran on the court, whoever the other player was closest, they were ready to double. So when he got the ball, not only was a guy just literally face guarding him, not paying attention, it was another guy ready to help and trap him if he even began to dribble. So he had to pass. Right. Now at first, Bobby Portis was hitting threes. It looked like they was in the flow. But what started the downturn, what has always started the downturn for the Wizards, their defense. It wasn't there. They was just Utah was getting whatever they want. Truth be told, the Wizards were in the game in the beginning because the Jazz were missing threes. If they were hitting their usual clip of threes, it would have been a blowout in the first quarter. Joe Ingles went off. Then Donovan Mitchell woke up, went off. It just poured in from there. And with Rudy Gobert down there, I don't think people give him much credit for how much of a defensive menace he is, man. You literally the layup attempts we see Wizards do all year where they would have took those shots, they were just dribbling on the baseline, coming down the other side looking for help because he was right there. He recovers so much. He's such a great shot blocker and his presence. Like, he only had 2 blocks. I don't know. We got to check the film, but they said 2 blocks. It seemed like more.
Well, how many did he alter?
Man, it had to be double digits. They didn't. I mean, you know, it was just amazing. I mean, but really, Joe Ingles is what sparked him, got him going. 16 points, 6 of 13, but it was who he was doing it against. You know, everybody saw the highlight. He made Bill stumble and all that step back. And his defense that got better where he didn't let, you know, he kind of made Jeff Green struggle. He didn't let him go off. Trevor Ariza got off to a quick start, 12 points in the first quarter. They held him in check afterwards when they put in Jay Crowder, Donovan Mitchell, and those guys. And the thing, the sad part is the Jazz didn't really even play up to their standards. Like, Derek Favors didn't go off. He went off in the first game when they went out there. He didn't go off. I mean, Kyle Korver, you know, he can go off about 20 if you give him enough 3-pointers. He was normal. It was just the energy wasn't even there. That's what's most disappointing. Bill had 15 points, but he was 4-12 from the floor, 2 rebounds, 2 assists.
That ain't gonna get it done.
Exactly. You know, and you gotta find a way to try to get him done. So it just got to the point where, you know, Brooks just put in, the bench and just said, just go, and made it, you know, cut the starters' night short. You know, like I said, the bright spot was Jabari. He had 19 points at 8 of 13 shooting, 7 rebounds. I appreciate his professionalism. He could have easily just came in, went through the motions like I saw some of the other guys do. I mean, it was some heavy heckling going on in there too. So I think a lot of guys, you know, was just like the hell with it. But he stayed focused and stayed professional, still tried to contribute. Tomas, man, he 8 points, 4 of 7 shooting, but Ricky 6 assists, but Ricky Rubio carved him up. He had 10 assists. You know, they couldn't keep him out the lane. He was just finding guys, just going to work. Like I said, Bobby Portis, he hit a few threes early, but he only finished with 11 points and 5 rebounds. Yeah. But Gobert had 14 and 14. You see what I'm saying? I think people also forget defense is a part of, rebound is a part of defense. So
I mean, that's one thing where they don't have to worry about. Like, after you take care of business on the perimeter in Utah, it's done. You can go. You got that.
Yeah, but the Wizards basically allowed Utah to get whatever they can get. It was 50. They shot 53% from the field, 37% from 3. And obviously, I told you how they looked on offense with Utah clamping down on them. So it was just a bad L. They lost 116-95. It wasn't even that close. Pretty much about 7 minutes left, people started leaving. So. It was pretty much the toughest game to me at home for me this season.
Well, it doesn't get any better. You got Denver coming in, and Denver and Golden State right now going back and forth with that top spot is it's up for grabs technically. After Golden State lost last night, I believe they're tied. So tonight matters. The next day matters. The first seed in the West is literally up for grabs. Right. So keep that in mind when they come into town.
And for people to know, the Wizards are 4.5 out. They only have 11 games, so it's not just about them winning. They need the Hornets, Magic, and the Heat to lose, man. And the Heat only a game back of the Nets. Well, 2 games back of the Pistons, so they can move up. I think they just trying to move up, so they ain't got to deal with the Bucks in the first round. Not that they scared. They don't really. That's Pat Riley and them. They don't care. But you trying to get close to the home court as you can. Yeah.
It's in your best interest. So on the DC United, a little bit more positive news on that side.
Hey, DC Sports.
After 3 games, the Black and Red are officially 2-0-1. That means they started the year on an unbeaten streak. Over the weekend, DC United beat visiting Real Salt Lake 5-0. RSL would start the second half down a man and finish the game with 9 players due to players being ejected. Wayne Rooney recorded his first career hat trick in the MLS. Again, just to emphasize that, just as far as the MLS goes. Bill Meade and that back line of DC United, this is the 3rd consecutive game in which they have not conceded a goal. So they're 3 games into the year, they have yet to give up a goal. Around the 30th minute, the referee elected to use video review, and the MLS is called VAR, for a potential penalty inside RSL's box. After watching the footage, he determined that Silva is still on the leg of Paul Arriola. Silva received his first yellow card of the game at this point. Rooney stepped up to take the penalty kick and easily beat the keeper. As for the second goal of the night, that came by way of some lazy passing out of the back by Real Salt Lake. Leo Hara jumped the passing lane and won the ball. He then played it to Rooney, who just chipped it past the keeper. Rooney did a really good job. This just being a quality vet right here. Holding, offsides where you can't be past the last defender. After Real Salt Lake turned the ball over, there was a defender that was literally standing in the box. Wayne was a couple yards in front of him. So there was no worry about offsides in the very least bit. In the 46th minute, Jefferson Sarvino would be ejected for kicking Luciano Acosta in the face while trying to hit the ball. It wasn't malicious in the least bit. Even when it happened, you saw these United players try to console the young kid because it's just something that happens.
It happens like that in soccer.
Especially when, it's two shorter players. It wasn't some evil thing. We've seen Lucho be taken down maliciously before. This wasn't one of those things. Still, that would mean that RSL would go into the half down a man. Rooney's third and final goal of the game came in the 65th minute when Lucho had the ball and was pushing it towards the goal. Acosta had several options, and he had the back line's attention. He held two defenders just by dribbling. He had Paul Areola on his right, and he was dribbling towards Areola, and the line shifted with him. Meanwhile, that bought time for Junior Moreno to catch up to the play. Lucho cut the ball back inside and played the ball to the open Moreno, who just took a touch, made a simple pass to Rooney, who was literally in front of the goal. Rooney slides, knocks the ball into the net, and I just want to credit Acosta for holding the defense. We talk, it's kind of akin to a quarterback holding a safety, just holding him in place, and then, you can hit the backside of the play, and someone's wide open. So it was just really good job by Lucho there. A short while later, RSL is down to 9 men as Marcelo Silva. This is the same guy who took down Paul Areola in the first half that led to DC United's first goal. He took down Lucas Rodriguez. It was some quick passing between Rooney and Acosta, and then to Lucas that led to the foul. Silva received the second yellow of the match. 2 yellows equals a red, which means you're ejected. My favorite goal of the game literally came a couple minutes later. I'm going to show you guys this clip. It is spectacular. I immediately sent it to Cardell because I was so upset that I missed it. But Rooney took a corner kick, and he delivered the ball to the edge of the box where Lucas Rodriguez was standing, just wide open. The 21-year-old didn't bring the ball down. The degree of difficulty on this is crazy. He unleashed a gorgeous volley that beats the keeper. I've watched this at least 40 times, and I'm probably watching it a couple more times this week. All right, the final goal came due to DC United's high press being effective. Another bad play from the RSL back line, some sloppy passing, lazy passing, and when an opposing team is pressing, no matter the sport, you're applying pressure, and you do something lazy, bad things are going to happen. And Junior Moreno pounced on the ball. He found Ulysses Segura for the 5th goal of the night, and, that was that. DC United is off this week before returning to action March 31st on the road against Orlando. There was some news against Orlando, I'm sorry. There was some news late today that the Black and Red signed 16-year-old Griffin Yao, and he's officially the team's 12th homegrown signing. He scored the first goal in Loudoun United history in the 30th minute this past weekend on the way to a 1-1 draw in his first professional start. Shout out to him and DC United for getting off to a quality start. Was at open practice today. They're not fazed about being unbeaten at all. They don't care. It's kind of like it's a long season. Mm-hmm. They have an expectation to be where they are, and they're just about going at it because it is a very, very long season. All right, so we got time to talk a little bit about this whole selection Sunday and Monday thing. Brackets are here. We filled them out. Just before we start, I just want to get this quick rant off because I was very, very bothered. Yesterday, the women's bracket was leaked on ESPNU. And I know some people don't think it's a big deal, but there's a difference, and let's just be honest here, which is what we do, between the attention the men's game gets and the women's game gets. This happened to the men's in 2016. It's not going to be that big of an effect. It's the men's game. There's enough attention. People are going to watch. We barely remember that it happened. I don't remember social media going super crazy about it, but this was trending yesterday, literally when it happened. And it kind of spoiled Selection Monday around the country for women's teams. Some teams elected to kind of cancel their Selection Monday celebration events, especially on the West Coast, because, they're behind 3 hours. So if it got leaked and, that happened at 5 p.m. on this side of things, on that side of things, it's, that's 2 p.m. So it just bothered me a little bit, and then just watching some people try to gloss over it also bothered me because obviously you don't want this to happen to either the men's or the women's, but of the two that can afford it, it happened to the ones that can least afford it, and it just definitely felt in being at College Park last night for Selection Monday. Yeah, people can say what they want. There was definitely, it knocked the luster off Selection Monday. It's a special time. But you guys want to get into these brackets? You want to start on the men's and women's sides?
Okay, and I'm going to highlight some players that most people don't know about they need to pay attention to.
Yes.
On both sides.
Go ahead.
You want to talk with Bragg or you want me to go? All right, I'll go in. First of all, I'm going to start with I feel like Michigan State and Tennessee should have been number 1 seeds on the men's side. Gonzaga lost to St. Mary's in the championship. You know, I think that ended their number 1. Obviously, their conference is not as strong as the Big Ten, SEC, or whatnot. And Michigan State won the Big Ten championship after injuries to their best guard, Josh Langford, and Nick Ward went down with injury with a foot injury. And they still got it done. I felt like they were deserving the number 1 seeds. The ACC got 3. That's ACC bias, and Izzo said it perfectly. You know, when he did his interview, when they asked him about it, he said, I think they need to get more basketball people up there instead of a lot of directors and ADs who don't really understand, who's just trying to cater to what will get them ratings and ultimately the dollar. You know, you need to reward teams that put in the work, and I'm all with them for that. And that's no knock against the ACC. If they had I don't care if they had the 4 best teams that deserve the number 1 seed, put them in there.
Right.
But I can't honestly say they had 4 teams, especially where UVA kind of slid down there. Duke, North Carolina, fine, but not UVA. Matchups I'm most looking forward to is obviously Marquette versus Murray State. You know, Marcus Howard versus Ja Morant.
Yes.
Marcus Howard, you know, averaging 25 a game, 5'11" point guard, and obviously we know about Ja Morant, who to me has moved up to become possibly a second pick in the draft behind Zion, who has that locked up must-see battle. But obviously it's going to come down to what's around him. But maybe one of them rise up so much it don't even matter. You know, that's the beauty of, you know, the tournament. And a couple, you know, other games you might want to pay attention to. VCU versus Central Florida. You know, VCU with their pressing, their versatility on the perimeter, going up against UCF size with 7'6" center Tackle Fall and 6'11" Colin Smith. Obviously, their guard B.J. Taylor, who's their leading scorer, is going to be a interesting contrast of styles, and that's just something to look forward to. Other than the usual suspects, everybody talking about Duke and everything. I'm trying to get y'all the gist of other things y'all need to pay attention to. Other matchups: Cincinnati versus Iowa, Auburn versus New Mexico, and obviously if they handle business in their first matchup, North Carolina Central versus Duke. North Carolina Central has Moten, one of the best coaches at any level, severely underrated because he's at North Carolina Central. He gets it done. They right there next to each other. So it would be good to see them rumble in the tournament or whatnot. But players, you definitely want to pay attention to. Michigan State point guard Cassius Winston.
Yes, Lord.
Averaging 18.9 points a game, 41% from behind 3-point range. He stepped up when Langford and Nick Ward got hurt, and that's why they were able to win the Big Ten championship and get the number 2 seed. Tennessee 6'7" Grant Williams, averaging 19.2 points a game, 7.6 rebounds, 3.2 assists, 1.1, almost nearly 1.5 blocks, 1.2 steals. He's the back-to-back SEC Player of the Year, and most people don't even know that. So that tells you all you need to know. Also, fellow front-court mate Admiral Schofield, averaging 16 points a game on 41% from beyond the arc. And this kid is about 6'7" himself, but he's 241 shooting like that. So that's why their Tennessee always been hard to beat throughout the season. Also, Houston. People ain't paying attention enough to Houston. Samson did out there is amazing. He's turned that whole program around. Point guard Corey Davis Jr. averaging 16.8 points, and guard Armani Brooks, 13.6 points, 6.5 rebounds. Then you got Texas Tech. They have a projected lottery pick, 6'5" guard Jared Culver. People not even really talking about, averaging 18.5 points a game, 6.3 rebounds, 3.7 assists, 1.4 steals per game. Wisconsin 6'10" senior forward Ethan Happ. He dropped out the draft to come back to school to prove that he's worthy. You know what I'm saying? He's a big man, 6'10", 6'11" kid, averaging 17.4 points, 10.3 rebounds, 4.7 assists, 1.3 blocks, and 1.1 steals a game. He does it all. Cincinnati 6'5" junior forward Jerron Cumberland, underrated guard who has averaged 18 points, 4.4 rebounds, 3.7 assists, and 1.2 steals per game. Syracuse 6'6" guard Tyus Battle, Jim Couch family, great guy. He's part of that, the family up there in New York. Averaging 17 points per game. He went down late in the season throughout the ACC tournament, but they was on the road before he went down with injury. If he picks back up where he left off, Syracuse becomes more of a problem. Utah State 6'5" junior guard Sam Merritt, averaging 21.2 points, but he's one of the most efficient players in all of college basketball. He's averaging those 21 points on 46% shooting from the field, 37% shooting from 3, 90% shooting from the line, with 4 rebounds and 4.2 assists. And finally, Yale 6'6" junior point guard Miye Oni, averaging 17.6 points per game on 45% shooting from the field, 39% shooting from three, 79% shooting from the line, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. After their blowout loss to Duke, Coach K said only will be a first-round pick. So that's the only snap you need to know about how deadly he is. On the women's side, real quick.
Yep.
Buffalo's 5'9" senior guard, shooting guard, Sierra Dillard, averaging 25.2 points, 5.7 assists, 4.9 rebounds, and 2.8 steals a game. Definitely keep an eye on her. She's a projected WNBA pick. They got her going in the second round in this upcoming draft, when she declares and whatnot. Also, Miami, shout out to my homegirl, Brandy Walker down there, strength and conditioning coach down in Miami. Told you she works magic behind the scenes, man. Wherever she goes, the program turns around. Got Miami up in there, ready to do some damage in the tournament. But they're led by, they got a deadly front court with 6'4" senior Beatrice Montpremier. She averages 6.9 points and 11.9 rebounds a game, and 6'3" senior Emies Hall, she averages 14.6 points and 8.3 rebounds per game. Also, we're going to take it out to Kentucky's 6' senior guard, Macy Morris, who's also on the WNBA radar, one of the best shooters in the country, if not the best shooter. She averages 14.9 points and 3.2 rebounds, but she shoots 44% from three. And also, Towson's 5'9", redshirt sophomore guard, Kiana Jenner. They take on the heavyweight in UConn the first round, but they got to keep an eye on her. She's finally going to get that national exposure, show what she can do. She's averaging 17.3 points and 5.4 rebounds. And 6'3" junior forward, Nakia Mayo. She's averaging 14.5 points and 7.6 rebounds. Those two led Towson to a 20 and to a record. And shout out to Diane Richardson, the head coach for Towson. Everybody in the area pretty much know her. She's the legendary coach for Riverdale Baptist, back in the day, winning all the national championships. And also shout out to a couple former Largo Lions. I know, Pettis and them going to be looking at this. Bethune-Cookman freshman Tania White, who's on Largo last year, freshman guard forward, who's their best player last year, and former head coach Vanessa Blair Lewis, who's the head coach for Bethune-Cookman. They take on Notre Dame on the 23rd at 11 a.m. on ESPN2.
Yes, sir. And shout out to Rob Knox, too, over at Towson.
Yep.
Communications guy, and I know
One
they're
of the
enjoying
best.
Yes, you are
One of the
definitely
best.
appreciated, sir. You don't know how much. All right, so real quick, we're gonna go ahead and post our brackets on social media.
Okay.
We're gonna do that for sure. Yeah, Octavia, and we're gonna label them so people can see it.
You
Right?
know what we're going to do?
What's up?
Just yell out your Final Four and champion.
Cool. Nah, that's what I'm saying.
Get
We'll
right
put
to the point.
Yeah,
And then put the
we'll
rest
post-
on, yeah.
Got you. I'm already with you. Who wants to go first?
Not me.
Ladies first, go ahead.
I don't
Hey, come
know.
on, ladies
Step
first.
It's
up
the
like,
one
step
time
up like
ladies
Suffield
don't
gonna
wanna
step
go
up.
first.
Step up like Nate gonna step up.
I'm gonna go last.
They
I'm gonna go
They
last
gonna
to
step
end the
up.
show, but go ahead, Octavia.
Dang, why I go first?
Don't be scared now.
So, disclaimer, my brackets are always terrible.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
No, we
Go ahead.
don't-
Final,
I never even
final
do
four.
that.
Okay.
No plea
Final
deals, let's
four
go. No plea
championships.
deals.
No plea deals.
We started with the
Go ahead,
women's.
Whichever you want to start with.
Yep.
All right, so on the women's side, I'm a little biased, so it's cool. I got Baylor, Mississippi State, Maryland, and Notre Dame.
Okay.
Okay.
And who winning? Who's in the
Maryland.
championship game?
Who in the championship and who
Oh,
winning?
Maryland and Baylor.
Okay.
And who winning?
Maryland, let's
Okay.
go. I'm
Okay.
biased, let's go.
All right, Cardell.
All right, my Final Four: Iowa, Mississippi State on the women's side. Iowa, Mississippi State, Notre Dame, and Maryland. Championship game: Mississippi State and Maryland, and Maryland winning it.
Hey, all right. So my Final Four, I got Iowa, Oregon, UConn, and Notre Dame. In the championship game, I got Oregon and UConn. I got Oregon walking away as national champs.
Okay.
Octavia on the men's side. Go ahead.
Jesus Christ. So I got Duke, Gonzaga, NC, and Tennessee.
Okay.
And in the championship, I'm going to just go with Duke in North Carolina. And for my champion, I'm going to go ahead and say Duke.
All right, Cardell.
My Final Four: I have Michigan State going against Michigan and Tennessee against North Carolina. Championship game: Michigan State and UNC. And I got Roy getting another championship.
Cool. In my Final Four, I have Nova and Houston, Duke and FSU. I got Duke and Nova in the championship, and I got Nova continuing this run.
All right.
That's where I'm at. We'll post the whole things a little bit later. Yeah, so well, thank you guys for tuning in as always. Yeah, we posted these. As always, get over to finestmag.com. If you're a Maryland fan, you want some sound from Selection Monday, get over to MyMountainSports.com.
Yes.
And enjoy the tournament, man.
And shout
Enjoy
out to
that.
Maryland. And Maryland plays Radford this week.
Yep,
Okay,
right.
that's the
And,
other thing.
And shout out to
Women's
my
size.
homegirl is an assistant coach for Radford. I used to play with her.
Hey.
She went to Stilwell Friends. Shout out to Camille Collier. So
Also, another shout out, Fairleigh Dickinson, just beat Prairie View A&M, local kid from Virginia Academy, Jaleel Jenkins, did his thing.
Cool.
22 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds, 9 of 16 shooting in the win.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. So they're officially a 16 seed now. All right, folks. You guys have a good night. We'll see you next week, same time,
see
same
all
place.
these busted brackets.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. That's my favorite part of all this.
Fairleigh Dickinson. Good.